Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today let's make some ice-dyed pajamas. I'm always on the lookout for new things to tie-dye, and the other day I was out online at Old Navy and I saw these pajamas. They're 95% rayon and 5% spandex, and the color of them is light heather gray. So I thought let's give it a try. Because they are rayon, I'm going to be a little bit gentle with them when I go ahead and tie them. I'm using some sinew and I'm going to just tie a random diagonal line design on both the pair of sleep shorts and the sleep shirt. When I'm pulling the sinew, I'm trying to be fairly gentle. I want to pull it tight enough that I have the definition lines, but I don't want to pull it so tight that I actually damage the fabric. Rayon tends to be a little bit more delicate than something like cotton, and I've heard of people actually cutting off pieces of their items when they pull the sinew too tight. It just slices that part of the item off. My sleep shirt and sleep shorts are damp when I'm tying it, and that makes it even a little bit more delicate and easy to damage. I've heard if you tie them when they're dry, they're not quite as prone to damaging, but I don't know if that's true or not. I've never actually tied any rayon when it was dry. If you have a lot of experience tying rayon items, leave a comment down below and let us all know. Is it better to tie the items when they're damp or when they're dry? For these pajamas, I've chosen a couple of the Dalula Company dyes, Shazam and Lunar Eclipse. They both kind of have a purple undertone, but the splits are a little bit different on each one of them. In an attempt to get a lot of color splits, I'm going to apply the dye over the top of the ice. So I have a plastic tub or tote, I've placed an expandable colander over the top, and then I've placed the items down inside of the colander. And now I'm going to add the ice over the top. By the way, I forgot to mention that I placed this set of pajamas aside for a few days so it's completely dry when I'm applying the dye. It doesn't have to be though, because rayon is fairly thin and this isn't a really thick design. You can go ahead and apply the dye while it's damp. Like I said, I'm using Lunar Eclipse and Shazam from Dalula Company. And I'm going to just randomly sprinkle those two colors over the top of the ice. If you haven't ever heard of Dalula Company, it is a dye company owned by Amanda, and she mixes dyes specifically for ice dyeing. So she mixes dyes with all kinds of color splits in mind. And these two colors have some really pretty splits. I have some videos showing these two colors by themselves, and I'll leave links to those down below this video in the description. She's got quite a few other colors that she offers out on her site, and I'll leave a link down below this video too to her website. She's a small business, so it sometimes takes maybe 3 weeks before an order will ship, but I think it's worth the wait. Her colors are really pretty. Once I've applied the dye, I'm going to add a little bit of additional dry soda ash over the top of the ice. Then I'm going to place this container aside and allow the ice to melt. I've included some process photos so you can see what it looked like as the ice was melting. In one of the photos, I see a lot of kind of orangey, red, and yellow colors on top of the ice. When I first looked at it, I was a little bit surprised by those colors. After all the ice melted, I left the pajamas for about 48 hours before I began rinsing them. To rinse the pajamas, I took them to my utility sink and I started rinsing them in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Then I warmed the water to hot and continued rinsing in hot water to try to rinse out some of the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. I untied the pajamas and continued rinsing in hot just a little bit longer, and then decided to soak the pajamas. I ran some really hot water in my utility sink, added some Blue Dawn dish soap to the water, placed the pajamas inside, and just allowed them to soak. When the water cooled off, I changed it out, and I continued that soaking process, changing out the water whenever it cooled off, until my water was remaining almost clear. Then I put the pajamas, along with some Dharma's professional textile detergent, into my washing machine, and I washed them using a hot water cycle. Okay, so they've been washed and dried, and let's see what they look like. Okay, so what do you guys think? I think these turned out looking really cool. I really like the colors together, and they have such cool color splits. Remember, I just used 2 dye colors on this pair of pajamas. And I have all kinds of cool colors. I've got purples and blues and pinks and greens. The 2 colors I used were Shazam and Lunar Eclipse. And all the things that I've used Shazam on, Shazam for me has pretty much just been mauve and purple, various shades of purple. And I have gotten some blue out of Shazam before. I've also gotten a few other random colors out of Shazam, but those are the overwhelming colors that I usually get when I use Shazam. But Lunar Eclipse has got like the blues and the mauves and the purple, the greens. That's the one where the green's coming from. And the projects where I've used Lunar Eclipse look very different than the color swatch that's out on Dalula Company's website. I've talked to Amanda about that before, and this is kind of one of those wild card colors where the results can be very different depending upon what project you use this color on. So it's a really cool color. I am getting various shades of blue, obviously lots of purple shades, some pinks, and kind of a sage green. If you happen to see the video where I tried Lunar Eclipse for the first time on 2 different shirts, I'm getting more of the coloring that I got on the Incline Twist shirt. I've left links to both of the videos where I tried the colors by themselves so you can see more where the splits are coming from on this pair of pajamas. As far as the pajamas themselves, I think they dyed up really well. They're super soft because they're 95% rayon, and the only place that didn't actually dye was the trim that's around on the shirt. That, the tag says, is polyester. So that makes sense as to why that didn't dye. But they took the dye really pretty, and they're super soft. I can imagine they're probably going to be really comfortable to wear. And for those of you who don't live in the United States, this is an Old Navy brand pair of pajamas. We have a store in the United States called Old Navy. I get asked that question periodically whenever I purchase something from there and use it to dye. People are asking if I bought it at a Navy store or where I got the blank. I think the name is kind of confusing if you're not from the United States. And while we're talking about confusing, how do you guys pronounce the word pajamas? So I live in the Southern Plains states, and I didn't realize I pronounced it quite as many ways as I do until I started recording this video. And as I was editing it, I had to go back and actually Google and listen to the proper way how to pronounce pajamas. I never paid attention before, but I guess I was pronouncing it pajamas, pajamas. I mean, we call them jammies, which sounds more like pajamas. But I guess llamas wear pajamas, which is more like pajamas. Maybe PJs. I should have maybe just called them PJs. I don't know. I never noticed that there were so many pronunciations of that word. So how do you guys pronounce pajamas, pajamas, jammies? And what do you think about this pair? Do you like them? Please drop me some comments down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.